Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Slot One Super Podcast. We are back for the latest episode, episode 67. I will be the main host for this evening. Of course, me, the Master Ningen, not here alone, as always. I have my incredible co hosts. We have Minato's Flash and Vilify. How's it going?
Hello.
Hello. You guys can see I've been hit by Minato's flash. It's
Yeah.
kind of tough to see me.
Got that full day brightness going on.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we are back once again. Talk about everything going on in Dokkan, everything that's been going on since the last time we were here. Looking forward to things that will be going on before we are back once again. So as always, it's good to be back with you guys. Quite a few things to go over. As always, if you want to help support the podcast, you have any questions, comments, shout outs, anything like that, all super chats and donos will be read out at the end of the episode. And do make sure you go check out Minato and Vilify over on their channels as well. So obviously the big thing to start us off is going to be the new celebration starting. Interestingly enough, the first time in, I guess, a little while for a Dokkan Fest that we actually got a teaser, like hint post as well, which of course led to Mercenary Tao. So definitely an interesting one. I think it's one of those, like when the clue got posted, people who had immediately jumped to that conclusion were there's very mixed mixed responses, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know which one of you guys wants to start, but what are your thoughts on Mercenary Tao as the choice for the Dokkan Fest before we break down the unit and everything?
I mean, with me personally, I know you guys know that I'm like an OGDB fan, but even beyond that, I think that getting a character that hasn't had the Dokkan Fest representation yet is pretty cool. And Tao does a couple of cool things in this series that I think getting it represented in the game is always very nice to see in good animations. And on top of that, I feel like just another extreme class release in general will always be helpful for like the villain ecosystem in Dokkan, even though he's not like a traditional big bad bosses type of villain. He could always be useful depending on how they decide to buff things, and giving a lot of these characters, we could talk about it a little later, but like a new leader skill, new category for some villains could potentially be interesting for the future. But yeah, no, I think that Tao was a good choice, especially because I don't think, it would have been good for a lot of people if they put like a very strong, like, I guess, saying like a super exciting contender out right before the Global Dokkan celebration, which should, we should start getting hints. Like, honestly, we could start getting hits like this weekend if they want to be crazy. But we're gonna be slowly leading up to that. So that's the whole thing about that, right?
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point where it's like this: if you're going to do a Dokkan Fest Tao, I think now would definitely be the time to do so. And I think it's kind of like a best of both worlds situation with that, where it's like, yeah, maybe the character isn't as hype, but it's like people who are really excited for the character do end up getting the character that they wanted. It's an easy skip for most players. There's other ways to summon for them. Obviously, we've seen with tickets and stuff like that from Special Dokkan Day. And then you also are rewarded with a very good character if you do pull him. Kit, like, just kind of, we haven't even really talked much about the Kit, but yeah, I mean, he's doing a lot of really good things. I think that the mission execution team is not the best, just from looking at it, but him having that Earthbred fighters in his leader skill, I think, is really important as well. So it's like giving characters. So like really the most common thing that I've seen is like, here's how you can give Glorio access to Earthbred fighters. And it's like, that's just because a lot of the best characters in the game are on that team. So it's pretty helpful, I think. And Mercenary Tao, it's like, thankfully, it's you just need to have two of them. It's like if you do pull them and you don't, I guess Glorio's on the team as well, but like you could just run two Taos and you're covered for that intro buff, which is really important for him, obviously. So pretty helpful stuff. Link set, people were kind of like, I know we're pretty down on it, and Dragon Ball characters, that's always going to be an issue, really, no matter how you split it when you go outside of the Dragon Ball realm. But it's like sometimes you don't need to have a great Link set to be a great character, and we've seen that before. Where like Tech Gohan's Links were definitely not the best when he came out, but he ended up being what he was. So as long as the character is good, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. The passive skill is the most important, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I guess to just hop off that, if we're gonna really get into the kit aspect, I really do like Tao in terms of his kit, not just it is a overall, like, he's good. I think a lot of people saw his details and were very worried about his in-game performance. I never understood why. Using Talon game, he's fantastic, amazing, and all this like stages besides festival, but he's not a stacking character, so I'm not going to be like, oh, you're not good at festival, he sucks, right? And the thing with this guy is, I feel like my favorite thing about him is that his kit very well represents how he was in the series. I feel like Dokkan does aim to replicate that, but I think this guy really does accomplish that because, I mean, he's an assassin character, so like he's not a character that's going to be doing a lot of like different attacks. He's kind of just going in for the kill, right? So I think him having this one large huge attack stat, not only in terms of just in the game, I feel like that's refreshing because nowadays we see characters who are like, okay, I'm gonna do an additional, then a great chance additional, super attack. Then if I have this category ally or something, I get another additional super attack, and then I have 50% chance to crit. This guy's just one big attack stat. Most of the time, he is just hitting that critical hits and just taking that huge chunk of damage off. And Wells characters, on average, if they get like a lot of their additionals, could do potentially more damage than this Tau. I think having the less RNG reliant kit of him just shooting out that 80 mil attack stat is more than often than not, I think, a more consistent way of damage. And it just feels super satisfying. And not having to spend like 5 extra minutes on a turn because your character is doing 6 additionals or something, right? To do the same damage. And I think his counter is really fun. Like, I mean, if taking him into the difficult stages, he could actually use his counter a fair bit because you would look at unarmed super attacks. I feel like last year it's like unarmed super attacks aren't that common. But then you have the Super Saiyan Blue Goku fight and the S tier Jiren fights. Both of them are pretty difficult. And this Tau, especially in that Blue Goku fight, just obliterates it because that Blue Goku is gonna like super him twice, and he gets like 2 counters off per turn. It's super funny. This guy's actually in a really good spot in the game right now, and he just does fantastic, man. He's good. His team is arguably pretty good, honestly, when you consider Earthbred fighters too, and he's not really reliant on needing like a full mission execution setup. So he's actually, I think, pretty easy to use. He's very simple and straightforward. And especially being a slot 1 character is always going to be great. But I'm a big fan of this guy and how they designed him. Definitely.
I think with Battle Hardened Formidable Foes is really also where you can see this guy kind of shining with the ability to stun at the beginning. And it's because sorry.
No, I thought you were finished. Go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, because you think about how like the state of the game was when the 10-year anniversary LRs, the Part 1 units came out, and we had Battle Hardened Formidable Foes, and you're like, man, these characters, like, sometimes in there, it's like you can't just toss them slot 1 in there. Turn 1, slot 1, like that was just a big issue for them. But when you're running a character like this Tau, it's like, he's doing his own thing, and they're also just not able to get hit at the beginning. I mean, what the best way to tank an attack is there to not be an attack there at all.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to like Battle Hardened Foes, is it like safe to say that this guy is like the best Battle Hardened Foes character in the game? Because
100%. Like, because I tried him out in there with his team, like, and the final stage, the one against the Gammas and Cell Max, literally it was like first try, like no items, like, because the first turn he auto stuns the enemy, which I guess that is the main event where that is super useful, because obviously Super Battle Road's not really what it once was, right, in terms of difficulty, but like he auto stuns them, and then he gets that thing where he gets the massive buff against stunned enemies. So you're seeing like turn 1 he's dropping like a 90 million attack stat or higher potentially with support and stuff. I've seen on rotations with General Blue, seen him like over 100 million depending on how many rainbow orbs you pick up, like against a stunned enemy. So a lot of the time he just one shots the first phase enemy by himself. And then, the second phase, you have him in slot 1. I think the only thing that would be awkward is like the Cell Max AoE. But no, I would agree. Like with you say, he's probably hands down the best like Battle Hardened Formidable Foes character in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I think the only thing about him is maybe the characters around him. Like when you hit that Cell Max AoE, could potentially be a little dangerous. But Cell Max doesn't always AoE, to be fair. And even then, there are some certain rotations on his team that could just like get past the AoE. You could even run Angel Gogeta on his team, and he's like, "Oh yeah, here's a Ghost Usher." Like You know what I mean?
Right.
So there are ways around it on his setup. And again, like especially like you said, with that stun enemy, it goes really, really crazy. I mean, I had a rotation of this guy against the Super Saiyan Blue Goku on like the team with Eijo Gogeta. I used Eijo Gogeta's active skill. We had like a lot of support General Blue going on rotation and things like that. And then this guy he did like 130 mil attack stat into a 150 mil additional. And then he hit like a 59 mil counter. But we know that the counters don't show the true value.
Damage.
I believe it's
3
three times.
yeah.
So it was actually like a 180 mil counter or something like that. Pretty crazy
Yeah.
what this guy could potentially do in some of these fights when you really set him up. Which again, I think that they did this guy perfectly. Like, I mean, you know what's really funny? I like looked into the numbers a bit, and if this guy like had like a 30% or like 50% defensive raise, he could actually defensively live even the normals at the end of Battle Hardened, not Battle Hardened Foes, Festival Battles, because right now he would not be able to live like he can live the 5 mil like normals, but the 7 mil normals from like the Tech Vegito and the Gogeta, they would kill him. Right, he would just take too much damage. But if he had like a defensive raise on a super attack, even if it was like 30 or 50%, he would actually be able to live.
Yeah.
Because it's just another multiplicative, like, because again, you see, he has, I think on average, like you see him start to turn 200 to 300k defense.
Yeah.
So then that shoots him up to like 600 to 900k. But then when you also add in like, let's say another 50% defense, if he had that on a super attack effect, for example, that would shoot him up all the way to what, like 1.3 mil or something. With that 80% reduction, like he's living 8 mil.
Yeah, that
like,
80% damage
7 mil.
reduction is crazy. Because that's the thing, like I saw a
Mhm.
lot of people saying when his details came out, you know, it's like the age-old meme, I guess, with like AGL Golden Frieza and stuff, where it's like, you know, having a large amount of damage reduction doesn't matter if you don't have good defense to back it up. But like when you take into account some of the stuff that's on his team, characters like General Blue, and then characters like
Path to Power.
Oreo, and like all these characters that are giving like multi-turn support as well, like he can actually get quite a lot of support. And then get Path to Power Kid Goku as well, gives him an extra like 8% damage reduction. So then like which I say this all the time when we talk about Path to Power Kid Goku, is 8% doesn't sound like a lot, and like it's not on its own, but if a character already has damage reduction, like there's a big difference between 80% and 88%. Like that becomes so much like less damage. Yeah, I've taken him into some tough events for challenges and for like using some of the units we'll talk about later, like the Easy A's and stuff like that, and haven't really had any problems with him like in slot 1 for the most part. So yeah, I guess with all the other units that you can run with him, it just works like super well with the support and everything. So yeah, he's very strong defensively, and then can hit super hard. I think I do agree with what you said. It's cool. It is kind of on theme, I guess, for him doing this like the one big attack thing. But yeah, I would say that's the only thing I find a bit disappointing. Is it would be nice if he did have some chance to additional built in, just because it is very satisfying when he does get that additional from the hidden potential, and you see that second like big attack as well.
But that's where it's like it feels satisfying to actually have the hidden potential matter, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like a lot of cards nowadays, it's like they just have everything. So if they start designing these cards like this, where it's like, okay, you know, they are missing a part of the hidden potential system, it's very clear to build them this way, so that when you get dupes, it's like, oh, they feel like they actually matter more, because you know, there's many characters who just have everything, and it's like, well, even if you get a dupe, it doesn't really matter, right? I don't know, but maybe that's just me. I think that him having a built-in edition would be cool, but realistically, it's not something that he needs anyways. And it really makes that additional feel super like, yes, when you get it, right?
Yeah. Uh-oh. You know, Vilify having some technical difficulties.
Oh, really?
He's having issues of his Wi-Fi apparently, and has
Oh,
dropped
okay.
out of the call, which then also messes up the orientation of the cameras. So
My face is cut in half, dog. It's
kind of,
over.
I know. I'll throw this up over you for now, and then when he comes back, hopefully, you should be able to fix
Yeah,
it.
I have my camera on, guys. I promise.
Otherwise, if I move it, as soon as he rejoins the call, I'm gonna have to move it again.
Oh, there's my face again.
It's hiding. No, I can't move the. There we go.
Poor Bill. Poor Vilify.
Poor
There it
Vilify.
is.
Well, I mean,
There it
as
is.
we've
That's
said
better.
many times before, right? It wouldn't be a Slot One Super podcast without some technical difficulties of some kind or another. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, what are your thoughts on the General Blue banner unit while we wait for Vil to come back?
I like him. I think is Bill back?
Oh, he could
Yeah.
be back.
Oh, hello, Bill.
We're good. Hello.
Where your camera's not loading.
Hey.
You might have OBS open.
Oh, there we go. Hey.
Oh, there it is. Hello. We're actually about to talk about General Blue right
I
now.
know the exciting banner unit of Mercenary Town.
That's Iron Cane's favorite unit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure everything's
Oh.
good. We're in sync, ready to go. Yes. No.
Yeah. He's pretty good. The General Blue banner unit, though. He has, I think he's kind of
I think I'm lagging a bit.
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
it is what it is, chat.
Listen, I'm not in my wired setup right now. It's a bit of a mess.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm good.
Yeah,
We'll test
seems
it.
okay
Ningen.
now. Yep, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You mentioned General Blue. I said it's Iron Cane's favorite.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did hear that.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So, yeah, no, I mean, General Blue, he's just a banner unit that actually helps the main character, which is really good. In a
Yep.
way where he links
Always like
pretty
to see that.
decently with him. Not the craziest way, but I think the Rainbow Orb changing is super useful. So then it's like you have Path to Power and then General Blue in the team. You're not even worried about Rainbow Orbs at all. He is dodge or die, right? But he has 80% chance to dodge. So it's not even like that big of a deal in most situations. I've actually never had this guy. No, actually, once in Battle Hardened Foes, this guy took a normal and died for me. But in majority of situations, he's been perfectly fine for me. So I haven't had an issue.
Which is very much like you said in that dodge or die sort of run, because he gives a lot of support, so he's like a really attractive option for the team because, like especially for the mission execution characters, like he gives so much support. He has the multi-turn support as well. But like, yeah, I think I took him into, I can't remember what we were doing, a challenge run or something, I think. But like the blue Vegeta at the end of the Goku story Red Zone. Now, obviously, that Vegeta is int, so General Blue has type disadvantage. But yeah, fully built up. I think once Vegeta's fully built up, he didn't dodge like one of the normals out of a group of normals, and it did like 800k or something. But I mean, that's the thing, right? When it comes to these kind of supports, like they're going to be dodge or die against some of these harder hitting characters when they're providing so much support to the team. And he dodged like multiple attacks before that because he does have a pretty good dodge chance. But yeah, that's just kind of the risk that you take.
I mean, fun enough, 800k is not enough to even one shot you.
Yeah, you have to lose a little bit of HP first. But it's just a shame. Like I know they do it for the lore or whatever you want to call it. Like not canon, but they give these characters these abilities that are reflective of like them from the show and stuff like that. But it's just such a disappointment that he has the ability in his kit to get guard, but it's only against Peppy Gal's enemies, which is literally like one event in the game that nobody plays anymore. Whereas like if he could get that, if you had like certain allies or something, then in that exact same situation against that Vegeta, he would have guard. So it would have been, well, I say fine, but they would have lived. And so it's kind of annoying. Like I don't mind when they put little things onto characters that are restricted. I don't mind it too much as long as they're not like sort of make or break for the card. And it really feels like there are a lot of situations where it'd be really awesome for him to have that guard, but yeah, he's only going to have it in like one event essentially.
You just hit me with a blast from the past if you were talking about the Bulma event. Where it was like all the discussion
exactly.
where it's like, is this a gimmick
Yeah.
fight? Does it count? I've completely let that like slip my mind.
That's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
General Blue will be really good there. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were waiting for. I mean, he's got everything you want, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Yeah,
I
I don't have too much to say about General Blue. I mean, I feel like you guys kind of
Yeah.
covered the bases with it.
no, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So what would we think about his banner overall? Obviously, he's a. Well, first of all, did you guys summon? How did your summons go?
Just tickets,
Yeah,
nothing.
fair.
yeah, just tickets, didn't get anything.
Yeah, same. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people in that same boat. But I mean, that's something that we wanted to sort of tie into. I guess we can incorporate in this
Actually,
same sort
I
of
lied. I didn't go
subject.
just tickets. I
Oh.
did go like I did. Well, we could talk about the 7 points, but I
Yeah.
did go a bit further. I think I have like 100 green coins right now. But I'm
Okay.
like, eh.
This whale.
No.
Isn't that that's like 10 multis though, isn't it? 500 coins or 100 coins, sorry.
100.
I said
Yeah.
100 coins. Is that
Yeah, 10
multis?
multis.
Well, it depends on how
not. There's also
not
all the dupes
truly.
that you get.
Oh yeah, true.
I think it
Yeah,
was like
that's true.
I think it was like 6 multis.
Okay, damn. Yeah, so that's the interesting thing, right? So the banner, I would say overall the banner's not great. Tech Buhan returning for the first time's cool, but I feel like he's not a must-have unit. I mean, even on release, he was. I'm not going to say bad, but obviously a bit.
Whoa,
Iffy.
whoa.
Yeah, his domain was crazy.
Iffy. Buhan
Yeah.
was cracked on release.
I think
What are you talking about?
I think it depends on the build, right? It's like you have to get the domain straight away, and then post.
Look at this global
He's
player,
good post
buddy.
super, but I mean,
Look
I
at
put
this.
like
Didn't
I
come out on
pulled
the
him
same
on his
time?
banner, original banner,
Global
used him
player.
quite a bit,
Oh my goodness.
but I don't think.
I mean, his
he's-
team wasn't that crazy though.
Yeah.
But I mean, power absorption specifically wasn't the craziest thing ever. But he still had that 50% support, which is pretty
Yeah,
And
I think it's just
Buhan-
with the anniversary power creep and stuff like that, with the way you can build some of these teams with other characters on, like you often will find yourself in a situation where he doesn't necessarily get the domain straight away, which I think you do really want him to get. And then obviously he has competition with like the Int Super EZA Buhan, who is incredibly good. He's still a very good unit for sure, but I think like him coming back on the banner, it's not one of those like, oh, you have to summon to get Buhan, right?
yeah.
And then, Ginyu was on the banner, which very much led people to speculate about his EZA, which of course we know happened and we'll talk about in a bit as well. So overall, I don't think the banner is particularly crazy. But yes, they have implemented the new system now that we found out a little bit about from the producer letter a little while ago, which was of course the summon points, which is a new system. It's very interesting the way it works. I wasn't really sure how to feel about it when I first sort of read it, and then I don't know, I think it's very interesting. Dokkan's doing a lot of stuff with the Dokkan Special Day tickets and all this kind of stuff. I think there's a few interesting things here and there that are beneficial for both free-to-play and pay-to-play. Well, they're like two separate, not the same thing is beneficial for both, right? But it's like there's one thing that's really good for free-to-play players, which is they're giving out a lot of free tickets now. And then I think the summon points is a thing that is good for spending players, because it's like if you're somebody who you are tempted to like throw a few multis at these sort of filler banners because you do buy some stones here and there, you are getting that extra added incentive for doing that, because then you can get some tickets for some of the bigger units later on. So but yeah, Phil, if we start off with you, like, what are your thoughts on like the summon points and all that kind of stuff?
I have to open it with a question. I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but with these, is it a choice, or is it you just get one random one?
It mentions a banner, right? So I'm assuming it's just
So
like
what you do have a choice. So what happens? You summon a Dokkan Fest banner, you get
Yeah.
summon points for Dokkan Fest tickets, and then for a carnival banner, there's the carnival tickets, I believe.
Right.
Or I'm not sure if you could exchange like the 7 points you get in Dokkan Fest for carnival banners.
Yeah, I
but
think the
essentially-
points can be used for either kind of ticket that you want, I
Mhm.
think.
And the ticket's going to be
let me
used on a
read here.
banner.
Yes, that's where a lot
Yeah,
of the
so
confusion
there's gonna
was
be-
coming in,
Well, it's because you could collect the summon points from any banner and then exchange them for the summon point tickets, which could be either the Dokkan Fest. Yeah. So yeah.
So like if you max out your summon points to the 300, it doesn't guarantee like a Vegito, right?
So there's not a max for summon points. It says you
Mhm.
could 300 summon points can be used to exchange for
For
one
a
ticket,
ticket. Mhm.
right? And you could exchange it for a Dokkan Festival ticket or a Carnival ticket, and then you
Mhm.
could use that to summon on either the banners. It's like we
Right.
saw the Dokkan Festival banner has the Golden Week characters, the Tech Vegeta, Ijo
Yeah,
Gogeta.
it's from October to May, I believe. That
Yeah,
was what they said.
October
Yeah.
to May.
Yeah.
So, was October Dokkan Fest? That was the Scouter Vegeta, um, right, all the way to Golden Week, right? And then August for carnivals that actually does include Tech Broly, does it not? Like Tech Broly,
He was
like
the
the
end of
carnival.
August. Yeah, beginning of
Yes.
September, end of August,
Yeah,
right
hopefully
around
the
there.
So
worldwide
that'd
ones. Yeah.
be well, yeah, no, because it says from August, during
Yeah,
August all the way through
should
there.
be.
Mhm.
So it would include Tech Broly, Family Combat Gohan, all the way to Caulifla, right? Which Tech Broly is still pretty like useful in Battle Heart of Foes, for example.
I think I got you. So just to kind of
Yeah.
come back, it's like I think like there's really not a the only I guess downside to this whole thing is that it's going to incentivize players to summon on banners they probably shouldn't summon on more. But at least in that case of that, you are getting something back.
Well,
And sorry,
I think the thing that people should also think about, sorry about interrupting, is
you're good.
they're gonna update these banners periodically.
Mhm.
So I assume maybe either in a few months or by around this time next year, the banners will update. So it's gonna be a thing of you. It's not something that people should have to rush to do because what's gonna happen
Right.
is the characters you'll want from these banners are the characters you're gonna save your stones for. So
Mhm.
it's kind of dumb to spend your stones on every single banner to get a chance at these characters when you could just save all your stones for those characters and have more summons to potentially get them
Mhm.
because you have to get 300 summon points for one ticket.
Right.
And we actually don't know if the ticket's like GSSR or whatever it is. But 300 summon points, I mean, you get how many per multi again? 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 10 multis, and that is 3 across. That'd be basically summoning on 4 separate banners, right?
Yes.
To get enough for one ticket. And I really doubt that's going to be something like a GSSR, kind of ticket separately. I assume that. Well, I mean, I guess it could be like a GSSR ticket, right? We don't know for
Yeah,
sure how it's going to
I'm
work.
assuming the way it's going to work because you have to spend 300 of the summon points to get one ticket, right? So that's 10 multis essentially. That's 500 stones to get one ticket.
Yeah, GSSR would make sense.
So
if
I
that
feel
was
like
the
it's
case.
basically going to be like almost like if you think about like the World Tournament SSR banner. So it's like you do a summon and you just get one of the featured like units, but obviously. That could be Vegito or it could be AGL Scouter Vegeta, right? Like
I don't know if
Hakim
it's.
Blue Goku.
I wouldn't say necessarily it would be a featured character. Could be unfeatured for sure.
Yeah, that'll be
Definitely
the other
right.
thing to see because I guess until we see the banner, we won't really know like what the true value of it is. And so that is the thing. Like a lot of people, like for me, I didn't want to summon for Tau. I just used the free tickets because I don't spend as much on the game anymore as I used to. So I'm saving everything for a global Dokkan campaign. So it's like when they announced the system and we saw how it worked, it's like, do I want to do 150 stones on the Tau banner to get those 90 summon points? But the interesting thing is, they did also say it's 90 points maximum on like a normal banner. But if it's a banner that has discounts or, like the anniversary banners where it's like 400 days, 3+1, or 400 days, 400 hours, like 3+1, stuff like that, you can get 90 points when that is on, like the 3+1. And then you can get 90 points afterwards. So
Yeah,
even
that's because
with or without that, the anniversary, well, I keep saying the anniversary because it's an anniversary level celebration, right? But Global Dokkan campaign in theory is going to be 4 banners. So if you do like 3 multis on each one of those, you're going to get a decent amount of you're going to get 300 points basically. You're going to get enough points to get one ticket because you're going to get 300 and 60.
60?
Yeah. So if you
Times
do
two,
3
that
multis
basically.
on each of the 4 banners, you're going to get enough points for a ticket. And then if you did want to, depending how many stones, I know most people do their summons while the discounts are on. Like for me personally, I don't like ever going back to those like 3+1 banners after the 3+1 runs out and summoning. I like to make sure if I'm still summoning, I'm doing it while I'm still getting that extra value of the free one. But if you go back and do an extra multi or 2 or the 3, you will get those extra points afterwards as well. So
I would argue, like with the summon points, like for those banners, it would be better just to save the extra 150 stones for post the 3+1 because you could potentially get more value.
Yeah.
I guess it depends because the thing is, like theoretically, okay, spending 150 stones on these banners to get like it basically be a third of a ticket compared to using that 150 stones, like let's say put 150 stones in the Tower banner compared to putting 150 stones on the worldwide new Dokkan Festival LR banner. Like I think it's just going to be more valuable to put those stones anyways there because the thing is, again, you're going to save for the banners. They're going to have the best characters that are featured on that ticket banner anyways. So there's no point in spending your stones on every single banner.
Yeah.
Instead, just save your stones for the banners that actually have them featured
Yeah.
regardless. That's just like the thing about these summon points. Summon points, in a way, like they'll just, it's working on FOMO, which, I mean, gotcha games always work on FOMO. But the thing about like, oh man, I want the summon points on the tickets, get extra summons, but it's technically you're losing out on value if you do go for the summon points, which is not really the smart thing, honestly. But I think the idea of summon points is pretty smart for the most part. And in terms of like, even if you do manage your stones right, and you just only summon on the best banners, over time you'll accumulate a pretty decent amount of the summon points. So that is pretty good.
Coins before the pity system were also a very similar sort of thing, where it was like if you just have like 2,000 stones that you're tossing into a really good banner, you're going to notice your coins going up a decent bit. And then especially with the addition of the extra coins per dupes. When did they add that? 2021, I think.
Forgot when.
Years ago.
It's one
but
of the worldwides, right? Yeah.
Was it a worldwide? Because I know the same name update was after the 6-year anniversary, and I'm pretty sure it was right around at that same time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think, it's like pity has had a huge impact on that, right? Is that the yeah, that's the thing. I think it's at first, like you say, I was kind of, when we saw the details and everything, it's like, oh, am I going to miss out? Like, should I do these summons to get their summon points? And yeah, I think until we see the banner itself and exactly how it works, we won't know the true value. But just by judging by the numbers that you get for the summons that you do, like, I don't think you should not take the summon points as a thing where it's like Minato said, you shouldn't be like, oh, well, now I have to summon on like every one of these filler banners to make sure I get these points, because it's 150 stones to get the 90 points from this Tau banner. But when the Global Dokkan campaign starts, that 150 stones is going to get you a 3+1 on the banner, which is going to have the new units on, which, as we keep saying, they keep calling this an anniversary level campaign. It's very likely that at least one of the featured units, like the new units from the Global Dokkan campaign, is potentially the new best unit in the game. So doing an extra 3+1 rotation on that banner is better than having the extra 90 like summon points. I think it's just one of those things where it is a nice incentive for people who are more so on that pay to play side, who do like to throw summons at sort of every banner just to see how it goes, funny. Right? And that just gives you a little bit of extra reward, but it's not something you should be going for if you wouldn't normally summon, I don't think.
I think the Global Dokkan campaign is actually going to be called Anniversary as well, because the Anniversary campaign Japanese version was renamed to Dokkan Supreme Celebration, but the 10th anniversary was Dokkan 10th Anniversary Supreme Celebration, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be 10th Anniversary Global Dokkan campaign. I think that's what they're going to do. I don't know, this is like random to bring up, but that's what I think is going to happen, because the JP anniversary is called the Supreme Campaign, and that's what they're calling it on the roadmap, even though they don't specifically state an anniversary. Yeah, see, like Dokkan 10th Anniversary Supreme Celebration, right? Was the 10th anniversary, and I'll put it in our chat here.
I also have a Sorry, Manso.
Go on.
I have a question for the Global Dokkan campaign. Do you guys think that the 10th anniversary LRs will be there?
Yes, I do.
I agree.
Yeah, because
I think-
obviously there's not like the
The
big
Tanabata, that funky 30 featured unit banner is probably not going to be dropping this year at that time.
yeah.
Well, because the thing is that a
it's
lot
not
of signs, are pointing towards the 7th being when the Global Dokkan campaign actually does start.
Yep.
Such as in mid-July, they're going to be updating the Whis event and the skill orb event for the Trunks and Goten, not the skill orb, the link level orbs. And they update those for anniversary and worldwide every year is what they did. So since those events are updating in mid-July, them saying mid-July feels
It's
more
early
like
July, isn't it? Because it's I saw.
Is it early July? Is what they said?
Yeah, I saw Rick's
forgot
tweet
the,
because I made a video about it earlier for today. Rick's tweet because that's exactly what they say. He predicted it like a month ago, right? The wording,
Well, yeah.
because of what they did for the anniversary. He basically said they tweeted out a thing a month before the anniversary saying that they were updating these missions for the Whis event and the Trunks and Goten Link skill event. So he basically said, like, if we see a thing from them saying we're updating these two events and it's going to be early July, it pretty much will confirm that that's almost like a month from the day they post that thing is when the Global Dokkan campaign is going to be. And they posted that today, which is the 7th. So
exactly.
points
So
towards the 7th.
I think
Because the 7th of July is still, even if we're not going to be calling it that anymore, because the main anniversary is same time as JP, the 7th of July is the global anniversary, isn't it? So it makes sense for that to be when it starts.
And I still think they're gonna call it the 10th anniversary in global as well, but that's just my little theory. But we'll see what happens. Like, because I think next year will be Dokkan 11th anniversary Supreme Celebration in Japan, and then for the global version, it'll be like Global Dokkan 11th anniversary celebration or campaign or something, right? They're gonna come up with some name for it, but I think they're gonna include like the anniversary number in there. But regardless, so it's looking like the 7th will be when everything actually does happen. And it makes sense because a lot of the things during this, like some of the things during the celebration are actually ending on the 30th, which if that's the case, then that's when the countdown would start basically, right? Because we always do get a countdown campaign. Like if I take a look here in the news, like all the missions for this celebration end on the 30th. Tao does leave a little earlier, like on the 24th or so, but a majority of these things are ending on the 30th.
I thought that was odd because it's like the part 2 LR is going to come out and Tao's banner will still be up, but then only for like a week, and then it goes away before like a week before the end of the month, which is odd.
Well, I mean, this happens during every that happens all the time. That happens during like every normal month celebration with the TUR and LR. But it is interesting.
Be up till the end of the month, but
because the thing is that because another reason why we're thinking the Global Dokkan campaign could start on the 7th is because we knew that they're gonna have more sales in the middle of the month, and they don't usually do sales for something like the Peppy Gals Manor or something.
Right.
So we're anticipating, hey, they're gonna actually drop a new character there, but then they don't drop a new character like very shortly before a dual Dokkan Fest LR celebration. Like that, right? Like not a new like LR or Dokkan Fest. So that's why we were thinking, hey, the 7th seems like a good time because that's what about a 3-week time frame. And tonight we actually could see like easy details too about this week too, but and then the week after we'll see the LR. But I just kind of started yapping.
That's all right. So definitely be interesting to see. So there was something actually in the chat that I wanted to point out because it's while we're talking about the stuff with like the tickets and the summon points and all that. It's a very interesting thing. So we've got a question: is it Pal or Pally? But what do you guys think will happen with the Memorial Dragonstones that we normally get during the Worldwide now that we don't have that celebration anymore? And that is definitely an interesting point, right? Because we had this big calculation period for like a large portion of the year. You'd get the stones based on how many stones you spent. And then obviously that was always like a big thing for the Worldwide. Obviously the Worldwide is not going to be a thing anymore. it's been moved up and sort of rebranded and improved as the Global Dokkan campaign. So do you guys think that they will be part of that, or is it going to be somewhere else, or will we not see that anymore? What do you guys think?
I think if
no,
they were
I
to,
think
sorry,
that no, you go.
I think if they were going to relocate where it would probably be during Tanabata, because they probably call that the thank you campaign.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it's going to be called. Well, it says a new campaign. I think they would have said it was a thank you campaign. But I guess they could still call it the thank you campaign or some other name. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're just going to put it right now. And it's going to be a thing of that the calculation period is going to be shorter, but we're going to get the same amount of stones. And then next year, it'll kind of make up for it, which people will say, oh, that sucks that we're getting them earlier because technically we're getting less stones and so on for it. But it's the same thing with moving the celebration up. You have less time to save for the celebration, right? So it makes sense because everything's gonna be, you're gonna have less time compared to previous years. I guess with global, obviously there is what's it called? Like the anniversary for global is moved forward, but like if we're talking like a JP perspective, there's less time to save for worldwide now because it was moved forward. So I'm already kind of used to like, oh yeah, it's going to be, everything's going to be like, I'm going to have less stones going into the celebration. Less memorial stones would also make sense. I think that, and then next year is going to kind of adjust itself.
Yeah.
And, the JP 10th anniversary have like the 10th anniversary memorial stone. What would be really insane is if they reuse that 10th anniversary memorial stone, but
I doubt it.
Do that.
Well, and
nice,
let's just play with the hypothetical that they were to do that, right? It's like, would you rather have your memorial stones or would you rather have that 10th anniversary memorial stone? I know which one I'd rather have.
Easily.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. I think we'll see what happens, but either way, you're gonna get the amount of memorial stones equal to the amount of stones you spent when they introduced it. So,
right.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then, like you said, things will sort of sort themselves out once we get fully into the new schedule and we're in this proper rhythm now of like the two big celebrations are 6 months apart. And then, yeah, I think that will all sort of fall into place nicely.
We always knew there would be growing pains with doing like the full sync, and that potentially could be one of them. But I don't think that like memorial stones are going to be like, the end of the world. It's because like it's always just nice to see those more than they are like really super impactful.
I think that they're best for easy A characters.
Exactly. It's like, like catching up on Dokkan Fest you potentially missed or you need dupes for, or in the case of like endgame veteran players, it's getting SSRs of TURs to link level, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you need so many of them to trade in for like a specific unit that for most players, all it is just
it's
you're
not
getting
worth
a bunch
it.
of tickets to use on a banner that most of the time, like you might not even pull like that many SSRs. Like it's nice to have the free summons, but yeah, there being maybe a little bit of a hit to the number of them you get this year just to sort of iron out the schedule. It probably doesn't make a huge a difference to a lot of players. And like you said, if it was the choice between them doing that and then potentially having another one of the like anniversary memorial stones where you actually get a new unit and not just a bunch of like random unfeatured SSRs off of a banner, then yeah, it's definitely something a little bit more exciting to look forward to. So, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to what the situation with the memorial stones is. But yeah, either way. So summon points, definitely interesting. For most people, I guess the best way, like I say, you shouldn't summon for Tau just because of those. So most people at least will get to take advantage of them during the Global Dokkan campaign because as we assume the format will be, there will be 4 banners. I would imagine most people are going to do at least one of the 3+1 rotations on each of the 4 banners, and then that will give you enough summon points to be able to get one of the special tickets. And so by then we should know what the banner actually looks like and how that works as well. Because that's the thing, at the moment, you can't get enough points to get a ticket anyway. So we still have I guess like until that happens, they won't be putting the banner or anything in the game. So we'll just have to wait and see. So obviously moving on from Tau, the other big thing, part of his celebration, as we alluded to when talking about his banner lineup, was that we saw the EZA for AGL Captain Ginyu and obviously the Rakuman Guldo and Jace and Berta as well, which I think we would all agree is absolutely the right decision, right? Because if they just EZA'd Ginyu by himself, I think that would have been quite a colossal mistake. Something that I know, Minato, I saw you post about it as well, Proton, talking about the gaps in the IDs, right? It made it seem very likely that if Ginyu was going to EZA, right, like those spaces were right there ready for Rakuman Guldo as well. And Jason
that's what I
Berta.
was thinking. I was thinking like Ginyu in general would get an Extreme Z Awakening the next celebration because there was the 3 spots there, and I'm like, okay, like if it was going to be 3 characters EZAing, the Ginyu Force makes a lot of sense. And when Tao was announced with the Mission Execution team, I was like, oh yeah, Ginyu. Right?
Minato and I talked about that in a video the day that Tao got revealed and stuff like that, because we were trying to speculate on who the category could be. I'm gonna pat myself on the back and say the hit was on there and Minato didn't think so.
Because I was thinking Mission Execution, because okay, it makes sense that he was on there. My thought process was Mission Execution would be someone ordering something good to go do something, which is what it basically turned out to be. And hit in the Universe 6 like tournament wasn't necessarily ordered to go and assassin someone, right? If anything, technically he disobeyed Champa's orders to fight Goku more. But I'm glad he's on there, like for sure, and it makes sense that he is. But I was like, kind of.
I'm assuming it's just because he's an assassin in general, right? So he's just I do think the mission thing is a bit weird because like there are some characters that are on there that maybe you wouldn't think would be, and then some aren't on there who should be, which is like, you guys know we have to try and I gotta try and mention them at least in every episode. But some of the heroes characters are on there, but some of them aren't, and it's like most of the ones that are in the Time Patrol are on there, but then you've also got some of the demon characters are on there, but not all of them, which is weird. So I'm not really sure.
I think that's probably just with the heroes lore specifically. I think that's something that we've obviously none of us have played the Heroes arcade game. We don't live in Japan. So there's probably a lot of the plot and stuff that we don't know specifically about how things went down. Specifically, right? Especially if
I suppose the main thing is
anime,
like the people taking the orders and not the people giving the orders. So you've got people like Toa and like Lags and stuff like that are on there, but then people like Mechikabra and Demigra, because they're like the Demon King versions, they're the ones who are in charge, so they're not the ones. Yeah. Although it's weird because the Blue Goku, like from last year's headliner, doesn't count apparently. Like he's not part of the Time Patrol. He just doesn't count. So because he's not on there. Yeah, so it was all a bit weird. But then like some of the androids are on there. I guess maybe I just like misremember exactly what the thing is, but I thought like Cell also had the mission to defeat Goku, but apparently not, because Cell's not on Mission Execution. The other androids all are, but yeah, Cell isn't, which I think would be a massive benefit to the category if Cell was actually on it. But yeah, Cell's not on there.
I feel like Cell being on there makes sense to an extent, but he kind of wasn't following the orders of like Jiro. Like he was made by Jiro, but Cell kind of was doing his own thing. his goal was to get 17 and 18 absorbed and become that perfect life form. But then after that, he kind of just did whatever he wanted, especially. So I don't feel like Cell was like, he wasn't like told by Jiro, hey, do this, right? He just kind of did what he wanted. So it doesn't make sense for Cell to be on this team.
I thought his base like mission programming though was still to kill Goku like all of the other androids, but I might just be misremembering, because I know his main goal obviously was to get 7 and 18 to achieve his perfect form, but I thought he still also had as all of the other creations of Jiro, that was their main thing, right? Like get Goku, but obviously not for not for Cell.
Even 17 and 18, like technically, like they were made for that, but they weren't necessarily going to do that. Like I think the future androids maybe you can consider more of like closer to that potentially, but I don't know.
Well, it's like because the future androids aren't on there, are they? Because for the future androids, their mission was Goku's already dead in the future.
Yeah,
the future androids are from.
It is only the present androids that are on there. Because you know, I was misthinking because I was thinking of the HOLR 1718 because that's how they're on there, but they're not actually the future androids, right? That's very funny.
Yeah, even though
I think the only
the backdrop and everything. But...
I think the only reason the present androids are in there is because of 16.
Yeah.
They're only going to do that because of 16. They're not doing it because of Jarrell, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think like the only one I'm confused on is like PyCon, but I haven't seen the filler in like a billion years, so I'm not sure why PyCon's there.
Someone did comment actually, but I thought this was at a separate time, but someone commented saying about it was because PyCon got the mission from the Grand Kai to go and stop Cell and Frieza from running amok in the other world.
Oh,
Obviously
that could
Goku
make
joined in,
sense.
but that was before the tournament, right? So
Yeah,
therefore,
I mean,
the PyCon that's in the tournament is it's technically still from the same like filler.
well, that's why.
But that's why it was
hits on
confusing
there,
to me
right?
because it wasn't like it was his mission to fight Goku in the tournament, right?
Yeah,
So,
but that's why like it's the same thing hits on there, right? If that makes sense, I think because it's in the same kind of arc generally. And it's obviously an assassin. He does assassin things.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of like
The
I don't know,
assassins things.
the assassin thing. You know, he just
Oh,
kills
the
people.
assassin thing.
He does
Okay, never mind.
assassin things.
I mean, I feel like the category makes sense. I don't really think there's any exclusions that I'm like it's glaring sticking out to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because someone said PyCon's mission was to distract Janemba while Goku and Vegeta fuse, but that was like
That
that's
too.
the movie PyCon, whereas the
Well, I mean,
physical PyCon is not the movie PyCon. He's the filler PyCon, like not the one from the
Well,
movie.
yeah.
The AGL one is the movie one, but then he's also on there, isn't he? So
yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
yeah, AJ1 is on there because he was told by yeah, I forgot his name.
so they were both, weren't they? They were both Goku.
They're
and
both
PyCon
told to
sent
do
by, like
something,
King
basically.
Yama, yeah, to go and sort
Yeah,
out
King
like
Yama.
whatever the issue is
I
that Janemba
I
was
forgot
causing.
Yama
Yeah.
Goat's name. Oh no.
So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
the
but,
category is certainly interesting.
I mean, it's just another category for most events. I'm more than down with that.
Yeah, but
Right.
I can't remember what we got into that from talking about Ginyu. We started to mention Ginyu and then started
I
talking
think-
about mission
well, I guess
execution.
The mission
but-
execution.
We started
category.
talking about the category. Actually, don't remember why we started talking about the category, but no, because we were talking about. Oh yeah, I thought Ginyu would easy 8 because he was
That's it,
on this
yeah.
missing
Mhm.
execution category. That's
That's
what I
the
was
one.
thinking. Talking about Ginyu himself, though, I guess we should. I guess talk about the character.
Yeah.
I do like the EZAs overall. I think they're fun to use. I think they're being a little overhated in the community, to be honest. But
Yeah,
I feel like Ginyu. I think honestly, defensively, Ginyu is actually good. Like in red zones, I've never had an issue with him defensively. He all he needs to get is like 3 mil defense range, which is not too difficult, even if he doesn't get a lot of his additionals. But because he has that 50% damage reduction, he only because again against the STR Jiren, that STR Jiren hits for 5.7 mil, but Ginyu's type advantage there. And then there's not really a boss that hits harder than that. And every other boss is like, close to like 5 mil range type of like. And then in that situation, he only needs like 2.5 mil defense. So with him getting the 150%, like if he's Goku Ginyu when receiving an attack, like he's able to double digit tank basically any super attack in the game. Doesn't even need the full Ginyu Force team. I think is another thing people are kind of thinking about. The issue with this guy is that I don't think he does enough damage when he's transformed. I think that his damage is very underwhelming for the most part. He has like some built-in crit. He has like the super effective, but I mean, you transform with this guy in like turn 10, turn 11, and he's doing 20 mil attack stats. And then his additionals aren't even guaranteed. I think
Yeah.
that's
What
the
does
issue
General
you
Blue do
have.
right away? With his attack stats, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and he's supporting. It's like
Mhm.
Ginyu. I think I like what he's doing. I just think that more offense was needed. Like he needed like an extra 10 mil added to his attack stats. I think. Like
I
if
think
he was
that's fair.
starting off 30 mil and then stacking, doing a bunch of these additionals, then reaching like multiple 40 mil attack stats in the turn. That's like, oh, I would take that for a character that has potentially a scouter and can double digit tank. I just think
Mhm.
his damage is too underwhelming. In many like in the final like portions when you actually transform him in these events. But I don't have an issue with him defensively, and I think overall he's good as a character. It's just I think they held back on the offense portion for sure.
And there's just really no reason to be holding back, especially with what we've seen from Kale and Khalifa
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah, that's I
TU
think a
or
big thing,
EZAs.
right? With him following them as like the next like Dokkan Fest
And-
EZA.
And it's because they stack attack pre-transforming, right?
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, he should have stacked attack and defense and base, then transformed to greatly stacked attack and defense.
Yeah.
And then maybe one of his supers and base just like guaranteed super instead of both of them being high chances. Like he does realistically feel like a downgraded version of Kefla. And the worst part is that, I know you guys, like, a lot of people don't care about festival battles, and realistically for me it's like, I don't know, like 60% red zone, 30% battle hardened foes, like 10% like battle hardened foes, like around that. But he's the first stacker this year that is not even relevant in that fight, which is kind of sad, right?
Yeah.
Because he only stacks defense in his base, then he stacks attack. So by the time you get him to stack enough defense for him to survive at the end, he's not doing enough damage, and he's going to cause you to lose due to the charge counts because you're not doing enough
Yeah,
damage.
because if you spend all those turns, you get to like, phase 40 or whatever, and you've stacked him up to like 10 million defense, and then you transform and he's doing like 20 million attack stats when you've got 3 turns to kill, like Daima, Goku, and Glorio. That's like, that's
Yeah.
that's not enough.
It's
like,
that's why it's like, it is a very unfortunate. That's why I think the biggest change I would make to him is make him also stack attack pre super, because it's like, I think that would just not only help his damage throughout all the entire modes, but would actually at least give him some role in that fight, even though he doesn't even have a partner to be using that fight. It's just like him being the only stacker not usable in that fight that came out this year is it's a bit weird. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
like at least like if you're a stacking character that releases this year, I would expect you to at least be competitive in that fight, even though it's not super important realistically, like especially once you clear it once. But I think you guys get the point I'm trying to make. Like, you look at him, then you look at Cleveland Kill, you look at Hits, trying to think of like some other characters that stack throughout the fight. You just free to play Kid Goku, free to play Super Saiyan Bardock. Like, come on, right?
Yeah, that's true. A free-to-play unit that came out this year is better in that event than Ginyu's EZA, and he's a stacker. Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it's also disappointing just based on the fact that this was like an EZA and 2 EZAs that just felt like really easy to make good again, right? And it's like just kind of how well the Ginyu Force team performed in, what was it, in 2022, and it's just like it doesn't really feel the same this time around.
Yeah,
I think
like this guy came out and was in argument of being like the best TUR in the game. So like you kind of hope that his EZA is like a similar sort of level, right? Which is why I think it's that little bit extra disappointing. Because like we said, he came out right after Kale and Caulifla, and they have a thing where it's like if they have a specific ally, like he could quite easily have that for Ginyu Force. If they have a specific ally, they just get a guaranteed additional super, which helps them with their stacking. Whereas he doesn't have that. He just has 2 RNG chances with a passive that's already restricted to like being run with certain characters ideally. So I feel like there's no reason why they couldn't have given him like a guaranteed additional in some way, shape, or form, like the girls have. And then once they fuse into Kefla, they just straight up get 2 guaranteed additional supers, whereas he just has his chance to super go from 50% to 70%, which means you could still get no additional supers, like if you get unlucky, which is for him to come out after them and be arguably like more restricted is disappointing.
Because it feels like they tuned them closer to a defensive, like, kind of view of it, which, I love my defensive characters, but the thing is that Kefla is more than good enough defensively regardless.
Right.
But then she also has the offense to back it up, and I think offense is, a lot more important this year as well. I'm sure
especially with Festival of Battles, like that's you can't be like you can't just be one-sided in that event.
Even in red zones, it's like doing
true.
damage, like the HP increase is a lot.
Because the bosses have so much health now. Like if you're fighting that blue zone Vegeta, like him and the Goku both have over like 1 billion HP. So if all your units are tanking but they're not doing any damage, you're going to be in that fight for hours.
And the thing is that not every character can tank. We have Jason Berger, who sometimes they'll take a lot of damage on normals, or
I've seen some really bad screenshots of that Jason Berger.
I actually don't like them. I actually don't run them.
I've seen some bad screenshots.
Even though Ginyu has the scouter with them, I actually don't run them. And again, I think people are thinking that this guy needs to be locked to that team. He doesn't. He still works just as fine without like with just next to Rikumagoto, Ginyu works just fine actually,
Mhm.
but that's more. That's the thing is he's just fine. He's not great.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you have a unit like General Blue who could potentially get caught sometimes. I do think that the team overall is safe though, and I do like him on Tao's team because there's the added aspect of Path to Power Kid Goku again, where Path to Power Kid Goku actually is supporting Ginyu because he has the Dragon Ball Seeker support, but he could
Yeah,
also give
true.
Ginyu and Rikumangoto the extra damage reduction. So, like, he could work out there. It's just he's not crazy there.
Mhm.
And it's even worse when you realize that the Ijo Ginyu transformed is not restricted at all. So it's like,
Right.
okay, he's not restricted at all, and you get him transformed, and again, he's just doing kind of mediocre damage for the point of the battle you transform him in. It's just
Yeah.
it's a bit unfortunate. And then if you transform him too early, you might not get enough defensive stacks. It's
Right.
just yeah. Especially because there's that HP condition on the transformation too. You do need to be under 70%.
Frustrating stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we mentioned
And,
Jason Berta a little bit, but what do you guys think of Rakuma and Guldo? Vil, do you want to go first on this one?
I've always liked the utility that they have, and especially when the opponent can be or the boss can be debuffed. Very helpful character. Haven't had a ton of time to use like this whole set of EZAs, but I just do know from using Ginyu himself and then opinions of people that I trust at this point. It's just I feel like they're fine, but nothing noteworthy where it's like you're just going to go into, again, what I was kind of hoping for, and I knew this wasn't going to be the case, but like you would just be like, okay, the mission execution / Ginyu Force team would be dominant like it was in 2022, and I just don't think that's the case. Where I do like Raccoon and Goldo and what they do defensively, but they're just all right. I don't know. That's kind of all I've got on them.
Yeah,
I
Minato?
actually I like them, right? Because
Mhm.
like them and Ginyu rotation is pretty good. They could
Yeah.
tank pretty much any situation. Again, the
Mhm.
issue is that they are very reliant on needing a Ginyu in the same turn,
That
and there's a
too.
lot of locking bosses. So it's an issue where you kind of have to work around the rotation. Though they still have the 70% chance to guard, and when they're guarding or not start of turn now because we have the icon
Mhm.
that'll show up.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
even if they get locked out of slot 1 without Ginyu rotation, it's like you're not gonna run them in slot 1 anyways. And they usually end up being fine as long as they do get that 70% guard to proc. And then eventually you could just get them back on rotation with Ginyu. And by the time like you have these locking bosses, it's gonna be a thing where Ginyu can transform, so you won't even need like a Ginyu Force kind of like partner specifically. The links
Yeah.
will be important, but it's not that important, especially defensively. But yeah, outside of that, I think they're actually pretty good. They
Yeah.
have, I mean, they have usage in Battle Hardened Foes as well because they have the stun and the greatly attack lowering.
Uh-huh.
But it also kind of sucks for Ginyu because like you don't use him in Battle Hardened Foes either. So it's like he's only just like a decent option in red zone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's like again, you look at Kel and Khalifa, they have a passive early on. You look at Hit, even like Tech Cell, STR Cell, like they have options in those shorter fights, and Ginyu doesn't really have anything, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, disappointing. Because yeah, that's another reason, like we already said, talking about how good Tao is in that event. But yeah, Tao's team with like Ginyu and Raccoon and Guldo as a rotation for battle hardened foes. Like as long as they have the Ginyu ally with them, Raccoon and Guldo get the guaranteed stun. So yeah, I've been enjoying using them as a rotation on Tao's team. Like I think Raccoon and Guldo are really good when linked up with Ginyu. I haven't had really any trouble with them with like the slot 1 tanking, which is cool. I think the biggest problem is just for Ginyu, like needing those Ginyu Force allies, which makes a big difference on the team. Like him getting the slightly higher leader skill from Tao, and therefore having less Ginyu Force units on the team than if you were running, say, like double Ginyu leads or something. He kind of evens out a little bit, like the number of Ginyu Force allies with like the extra leader skill
also
percentage, but
we talked about this, but there's tons of support going around on
yeah,
Tao's team
exactly.
too.
But there's so much support, and then like Minato said, once you transform, then it doesn't matter. Like he doesn't need the Ginyu Force allies at that point anyway, and his base stats go up to like 250. So Yeah, it's very interesting situation for Ginyu because, like, I found that he can be good in that setup with Tao without needing to run like a ton of other Ginyu Force um, characters on the team with him, which, to be fair, is good because it's not like we have a huge amount of options right outside of these two easy A's. I don't know if you guys, I tried reusing as part of one of the initial runs I did with the double Ginyu leads, like using the LR Ginyu Force again.
I
And you
don't
know,
even have them.
it's been a
At
while.
55%, they
Yeah, not great.
there's a lot to be lacking.
But yeah, so well, that we could lead that into, I guess, one of the things we've got on the list here, which is of course speculating about the part 2 LR for the celebration. Now, you know, will they be directly related to Tao? Will they be mission execution? Will it be one of those random KO and Super Boo memes where it's just completely unrelated? And obviously, one of the things that comes to mind is with the unit, you know, with what we're saying about the Ginyu Force. Will the Part 2 LR be a Ginyu Force related unit potentially? Like a standalone like Ginyu Goku, right? Because then that's another unit whose name includes Ginyu. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think that it would be fair to see another like a Ginyu Force kind of push because I mean, it is weird that they didn't add any other categories to his kit, especially considering the new mission execution team. Um, so I could definitely see a thing where they actually pushed out like Super EZA for the Tech Ginyu, physical LR Ginyu. I think
Yeah, that would be
because
great.
okay, well, I was talking about this with Proton again. Love Proton, much useful information. He did bring up the point of hey, remember recently the Bardock and the Ginyu Force, like you free to play character events were updated to be much more streamlined.
Yeah, true.
Um, then on top of that, they added all the copies of Manilaza to the shop, which is a very interesting thing. Almost like they're planning to release something. Physical Ginyu is a battlefield character. They could push out the EZA battlefield medals for Ginyu, physical Ginyu, right? And put them in the shop. And it's a thing of, hey, you know, we're actually releasing something new, and then it could be his Super EZA medals. Then the Tekelar Ginyu could get an event for his Super EZA, just like the Prime Battle Goku, because of the fact that they did update the Ginyu Force and Bardock character events. So, like, you know, it's kind of it was updated similarly to like how the Hidden Potential system event was updated, where everything is in one line. You get the card and the orbs all together, which you know is general quality of life stuff. But it would make sense if they are updating those events because they're planning those Super EZAs. Then they drop a part 2 LR to go along with this. It would still fit mission execution. Maybe the LR could be both mission execution and Ginyu Force, unlike the TURs. And it's like, what if he's like a mega mission execution support character as well?
Right.
I think that could be really cool. But it's something we need to wait and see. I think there's a lot of potential for like part 2 LR and how they're going to go through with things. And another thing is that they're probably going to drop another EZA this week. We know that there's 7 of the awakening IDs in the table, which would point to the 7 awakening steps for another EZA TUR. I'm thinking it's going to be Yamcha. So if they're going to drop it, like it'd be weird if they dropped the Ginyu Force EZAs, Yamcha, then Ginyu Force Part 2 LR, like just Yamcha in the middle there or something, or whatever character it is. It would just kind of be random. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that's kind of off-putting me about being like, oh yeah, I really think it's gonna be like a Ginyu Force character. But who knows?
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. I was talking about that in a like what a potential part 2 LR could be in a schedule prediction video yesterday, and I was just looking at the mission execution team, and I'm like, who the hell could this be? Like, I even said like, what if they do another Super 17? And I was like, I don't even know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where I was at.
Yes.
I mean, I guess so. Like it could be a fusing one, like a
Yeah.
tag and fusing one, but
reversible exchange.
I feel like we
Yeah.
won't see another reversible exchange part 2 LR back to back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because obviously, assuming
if-
this is just going to be a normal yellow coin and not like another carnival, Yeah, mission execution is an interesting one. Like, I think if it was a Ginyu Goku, I think that would work really well because it's like buff for the Ginyu Force units as well as a buff for the team. And that is one thing I forgot to say when we were talking about the kit, and Minato did bring it up. The fact that it could have been so easy for Ginyu, like everywhere in Ginyu's passive where it says Ginyu Force ally, if it said Ginyu Force or mission execution, like that would already make him like such a significantly better unit. And it's a real disappointment that they didn't do that, because we do see that sometimes with these characters that get easy A's, especially when new like categories have come out, where that category gets added to the like restrictions that they have in their passive for other categories already, because that kind of helps out with them gel with that new team. So I do think that is a big miss on their part, right, not having included mission execution with AGL Ginyu's passive. But that's where a part 2 LR definitely could come in and fix that, like with a Ginyu Goku. Because I think we talked about it before, but like when it comes to Ginyu Force characters, like the only other character I feel like that could get a standalone unit other than there being like a Ginyu Goku like straight from turn 1 is probably Raccoon. He's like the only one that is like the solo guy, right? Because Guldo is just like a... You know, his ability was interesting, but he just gets like no diffed by Vegeta, and then Jason Birder a combo, right? Whereas like Raccoon,
I mean,
single-handedly basically just gave the hands to like everybody on Namek, right? So he's kind of the only one that feels like he could get a standalone character, but then it doesn't help Raccoon Guldo or Jason Birder because he's not a unit whose name includes Ginyu, which is why I think like Ginyu Goku would be probably the better choice for like if it was going to be a Ginyu Force character, but.
I could also see a Ginyu, Goku, and Jace card.
Yeah, true.
Because they technically did work together for that time, right? Maybe Jace could have some sort of ghost usher when he leaves. When he escapes as like a ghost usher.
Yeah.
But who knows? I think it could be really interesting if they want to do it like a tag Ginyu Force character. A standalone Goku Ginyu would also be good though, because I don't think we've ever had a standalone Goku Ginyu besides like the SR, right?
Yeah, there's not an SSR one.
Because the tech one is technically the whole Ginyu Force.
Exactly. So that'd make a lot of sense to get like a Ginyu Goku. That's like a standalone one.
You also mentioned with Jason Birder, not the like just like with the potential other character. It's like really their kind of screen time is them just trying to hit Goku and they can't.
I mean, there's the filler. So
that's true.
You know, we could get actually the Dragon Ball, the good old Super like retelling, because it doesn't happen in the any of the other stuff. We could get the Ginyu Tagoma,
That'd be awesome. That's like maybe one of the worst things to come from Super the anime when Vegeta decides it's time for him to go Tagoma, and he just lifts him up like this. Yeah. And that's just like, do you remember that?
I don't remember exactly what happens, but I was going to say the opposite. Whereas I think it was funny that the only good thing I like about the retelling of Resurrection of F is the Tagoma Ginyu thing is kind of funny because it's a callback to Frog Ginyu. But it also closes the circle of Vegeta being the one to single-handedly kill every single member of the Ginyu Force, because he finishes off everybody else on Namek, but obviously Ginyu Frog like gets away, and so by having that Ginyu Tagoma thing and then Vegeta being the one to take him out, it crosses the last one off the list for Vegeta, which I thought was pretty funny.
Here it is.
But Ginyu Tagoma would be an interesting one. Definitely not something though. I feel like that's the kind of card I could see us getting as like a free to play from a story event or something, like maybe a Prime Battle LR, right? If it was going to be an LR, but not like a Part 2 LR for a celebration. I don't know.
You guys watching aren't going to see this, but I just posted it in the chat in our little thing for the podcast. But this is how it looks.
I don't remember.
That's it. He just lifts him up. Yeah, it's probably his worst confirmed KIA in the Ginyu Force. Like, I mean, Jason Birder who is it? Like Birder got his neck, and then I don't remember how it was for Jace. Yeah, it was just a blast, right?
But yeah,
it's a blast.
Vegeta finishing them all. I mean, the Guldo one's the craziest one. Just the chop. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, we'll probably won't see. I don't think we will see Tagoma Ginyu, and we'll never see. Chat will never see Tagoma Frog again. Yeah, probably not.
That could be a support memory. That could that's always where you could kind of put that. It's like mission execution category allies or something
Yeah.
get X amount or something. I don't know. It's like it's just kind of you can do it.
But yeah, there's a couple of different options when it comes to, like, if we're talking about non-Ginyu Force. One of the other things I put up today was I have seen some people mention it as well, probably just largely wishful thinking, but the fact that mission execution is another extra category randomly for Wrathful Broly, which is another character that we've been very much waiting for him to get a new version, considering we only have the one in the game. Because it's actually finally a third category for the Broly in Paragus. We only had 2 categories.
Let's go.
But now they're on mission execution. So
that's why we play the game right there.
Let's go.
It all comes back. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's an interesting one. I mean, Wrathful Broly, he's like sort of like a God Vegeta, where it's like always like, oh, who's the next Dokkan Fest gonna be? And everybody's always just like God Vegeta or Super Baby 2 or Wrathful Broly. Always sort of like that same group.
Dude, I want Wrathful Broly and God Vegeta as a dual Dokkan Fest so bad. But...
Right. I think that might be wishful thinking, but maybe separately. I just don't know
Wrathful
where
Broly would be cool, but
yeah. How do you dual Dokkan Fest that and people don't say like? How do you do that and people like don't say it's not hype? Right, like I guess people would like the God Vegeta transformation animation.
Yeah, I was gonna say because people were so hyped for that. Like when I remember, like when I first saw it, like that was one of those like the first. I mean, I guess there are a lot of those moments in the movie, whether they're fan service because of the animations or what. But like when I went to the first screening of the Broly movie, that was like the first big moment where like everybody sort of like clapped and like cheered was with the Vegeta God transformation because it looks so good. And like that as his intro would be great. And the fact that, like Wrathful Broly, we only have one God Vegeta card in the game and he's not good. Like his EZA was bad. It was one of those typical like Goku got a really good EZA and Vegeta's one was really mid. Like it'd be so good to get a new one. But I mean I would I'd happily sacrifice that like Dual Dokkan Fest for a good new Wrathful Broly. I think the only thing is like whilst he's on the category, he doesn't really like fit on the team with some of the other characters. I know we've said like characters like Tao and stuff can be good without necessarily having a lot of links active, but like you just randomly throw Broly on that team unless they're also making him like a massive support for the team, then it seems like a
you'd
odd
also
choice.
You'd be running him alongside probably a lot of Earthbred Fighters category characters that have the Saiyan link sets. That would probably make it work, but I would have to look at what that Wrathful. So like,
I mean, I don't know if Wrathful Broly would be the best choice here personally.
Yeah, probably not. But
I'm thinking
I'm gonna look up his link set right now.
I mean, it definitely has like Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Shock and
Saiyan
Speed,
Roar, maybe
Prepare for Battle, Saiyan Roar, Fierce Battle.
Yeah, sadly he doesn't have Saiyan Roar because that's the thing. He is a giant 8-power character as well. Because that would be an interesting transition. That was one of the things I mentioned in my video today. Was if he came out now as like technically a mission execution buff, he also is on giant 8-power, which will potentially be getting buffed once we start getting the
I think he has Berserker, doesn't he?
He does. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Prodigies, I think he has too.
Yeah, Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Prodigies, Berserker, Shocking Speed, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle.
Yep, called it. I knew it.
So for like most of the mission execution team, they're literally just gonna have Fierce Battle. Like So unless they make him like a massive support, then it doesn't really fit the team very well.
Nope.
I'm thinking, I don't know. Just another character would be better.
I'm just going Super 17, and we're just gonna say that, even though I don't really believe it.
I think next year would be. I think next year would be a good year for GT bosses Renaissance.
Renaissance, I like that.
Yeah.
So like, I mean,
we can't say comeback because they're never really here.
EZA AGL Omega Super STR Super 17 Tech LR Super 17.
Yes, sir.
Super 17 Super EZA.
Exactly. And then we got, like Dokkan Fest Baby into a part 2 LR that is tag 17 and 17 fusion card. Right. And then we have all those EZAs, and then GT bosses could be great again,
Again,
yeah, the GT bosses Renaissance. That's our campaign for the next year.
Look, trust.
I like it. Yeah. Listen, I'm not even making fun of you. I'm bought in.
S-tier Omega Super EZA.
Yeah, true.
Yes, sir.
That should be good.
We finally get Dokkan Fest Baby.
Yeah, exactly, right.
So
AGL, the in Super Baby 2 Gritty, you know.
No, you can't even run him in content. He's
oh
banned.
god, yeah, he has the nuking leader skill,
Oh,
doesn't he?
I
It's
forgot
like that
about
Super
that.
Saiyan 3 Great Ape Goku. It's like for
Yeah.
years. It's like, when is he going to get an easy A? And now even if he gets one, you can't run him in like half the events. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, someone did say in chat as well, actually, because obviously we did mention all of the androids are on there. Super Android 13 is an interesting potential one, I guess,
Ooh.
for
They would be mission
Part 2 LR.
execution. They have to be, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Android
it's
13
execution.
is on there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
could be an
I mean, that
interesting
could be an option, right?
That's a good
But,
choice. I didn't even think about that.
Would he come with like a AGL Super 17 EZA maybe or Super EZA? I mean, because like, what else? Like, let me take a look here at the mission execution team one more time.
Because
Like,
I think
let's
you
see.
could do like Super Android 13 as the Part 2 LR, and then do like LR Tech Super 17 Easy A, because then they both go on the team together with them both being androids. Like, could be interesting. Because yeah, mission execution has quite a few random like units that could be picks for. Because obviously we're not going to get a new, Pycon after literally just getting a Part 2
think?
LR Pycon. So I think one of the androids would definitely be interesting.
It'd be really funny if we got like a Team Bardock character.
Ugh.
And then Tech Bardock EZAs. I doubt it. There's no way.
I don't want to deal with his scouter anymore. Don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think it fits
I'm
this
not sure.
one very well, but like a new Bardock of some kind, giving the AGL LR Bardock a 220 lead, and then EZA all the Great Ape Ginyu Force, Great Ape Bardock squad. Like that'd be a great setup. But
keep in mind,
doesn't
there's
really
also
fit
the
well
possibility that it's just completely unrelated and just some random
yeah,
war.
that's also true.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could be another Kale Super Boo like situation.
But we're in the business of speculation. And
Yeah.
speculation, to do that, you need some context. You can't just start throwing random things at the wall. Because the one time you're right, you never get to shut up about it.
I think it's a Kai Beers.
Kai Beerus.
I'm here for it. I think it's super good, Gita.
Well, the funny thing is, of course, for most people, and obviously we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in our own videos that we do, but regardless of who it is, I think most people probably shouldn't summon anyway, right? Because it's going to be like 2 weeks before the Global Dokkan campaign starts, which is awkward because if it is like a Ginyu Goku, it really helps the team, really helps the Ginyu Force units, but then realistically, for most people, you shouldn't summon for him anyway, outside of the free tickets, obviously, that we will get, which is a massive W, of course. But yeah, I guess that's something we will have to wait and see. We should hopefully get news of that sometime in this next coming week, because we're expecting it to drop around the 16th or the 17th. Although that's the interesting thing, actually, I wanted to get your guys' 2 cents on this just quickly, is the banner. So the 15th, which of course we know every month is going to be one of the Dokkan special days, is on a Sunday this month. And we're not expecting the banner, based on when all the sales and everything else that are in the game like end. We're not expecting the Part 2 banner to come out until like the 16th or the 17th. So what do you think will happen with like the Dokkan Day stuff? Because like, I don't think have we ever gotten tickets? Well, I suppose we have for like countdown type thing. I was gonna say, have we ever gotten tickets for like a banner that isn't out yet? Because like, will the Dokkan Day tickets be for the Part 2 banner, even though it isn't out yet? Or
didn't that already happen?
Yeah, I mean, no, but I don't recall if it happened yet. But the tickets could be in the data, and they're just generic tickets. They're not like Dokkan Festival tickets Tao Pai Pai. Like, so they could have the tickets obtainable, and then we have the banner the next few days.
Yeah.
Because when did they start introducing the tickets? They did that with Khalifa and Kel, right?
I thought it was
Hitting
Kaioken
Goku. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could have sworn we got some tickets like a couple days before.
It's because
like,
it wasn't the Dokkan special day. It was because it was when the Seriously Serious event first came out.
That's what it
so we got
was.
the tickets for Hit and Kaioken Goku, and then Dokkan Day came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but so I'm thinking, I don't think it really matters. I think that we're just gonna get the tickets before the banner comes out, and it's gonna be in the same week, anyways. You know, Dokkan Day Dokkan Day drops on a Sunday this. Okay. So I think we're gonna get the Dokkan Day stuff in this upcoming week's data download. because it's the 15th is a Sunday.
Yeah, because we're expecting a data download, I think, the beginning of this coming week, aren't we? Because like you said, we potentially will get some sort of news tonight. Well, it's tomorrow morning for me, but potentially some news for the stuff that's upcoming this week. So we are expecting a data download.
Well, there's a maintenance on the 9th.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
So,
Actually, yeah,
I mean, it could be
because it will just be part of that.
It could be Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking potentially more likely it's Monday, but
yeah,
it could also just be Sunday. Who knows? We just have to see.
Yeah, so one of the other things that we do know is upcoming that we did see a little bit of I say a teaser, it was like just a post about. We actually got a little bit of information about it as well. Not so much about how the event itself actually works, that's what we're still waiting for. But of course, we got the big news update about the Million Arena, which is a new event that's coming out. We don't know when necessarily. I don't think it's not scheduled to come out this week, is it? Although there might be stuff in the data download potentially.
It should come out this week.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. It's going to be a special event. So I saw all kinds of speculation all over the place. Like, is this Chain Battle 2.0? Is this like single player world tournament? Like all this kind of stuff, right? So it says it's a survival battle where you climb the rankings by surviving the enemy attack and dealing massive damage. Because one of the things I thought straight away is like, oh, is this just going to be another rebranded version of like a punching bag type thing? But it does say surviving the enemy's attack. And obviously in those events, you don't ever get attacked. So it'd be interesting to see how that works. But yeah, this is an event where everybody will get to jump in and take part. There is a single player mode that you can do, which doesn't have like the rankings or anything. You do have to link your Bandai Namco ID. You have to create one and link it with your account, which if you're not a newer player, you've probably done already, because there has been a couple of things in the past where you needed to do that to get like free stones and stuff like that. So what you have to have that linked, and then you take part in the event, which, as we say, we still don't know the details of exactly what that is as of right now. But the top 100,000 players will then get access to the semi-final. Then it will be the top 30,000 players from the semi-final get access to the final, and then it will literally be the top 30 get whatever the final biggest prize is at the end. So we got that information on how the sort of bracketing kind of works, but we don't know exactly what the event is or how it works yet. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? What do you think it is? What would you like to see? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't really know. And I'm kind of like, it's just going to be a wait and see thing for me. I mean, to me, it just sounds like an event.
Right. It just sounds like you play the game.
It just sounds like just playing the game. So I don't understand like how hard the enemy is going to actually attack. I assume it's going to be like maybe each phase, like it gets more difficult and difficult and difficult. Kind of like, I mean, kind of similar to Festival of Battles, maybe. Where it's like, because the enemy is not going to.
Yeah, true.
Because the enemy is, unless it could be a one phase event where the enemy hits you for like a 10 mil normal, but that doesn't even make sense. So to me, it feels like it probably will be a longer fight now, where it's like, I don't know. Maybe it is a nuking fight. Who knows, man?
It's so interesting with like a leaderboard, because like you said, I mean, there's going to be rankings for it. So if it's just like, an event that you clear, is it going to be based on clear time? Like, are we going to be able to use items in there?
Don't mod this event, by the way. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, because it's similar to anyone wants to know. So it's like anything like this that's actually like competitive, like you will get banned if you try and do any shenanigans. I think for
me,
go on.
No, well, I was gonna say I saw it, but I kind of like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna get overexcited for a new mode, because a lot of times they don't pan out that well. But
Yeah, I think like what you were saying is kind of one of the. I don't want it to be exactly like it, because obviously I'm not a huge fan of that event, but festival similar sort of thing, because it does say about surviving enemy attacks and then dealing big damage. So that kind of thing makes sense, where it's like each phase it gets harder and harder, and then that's how you thin out like the top however many players in each round. It's like who gets the furthest in the phases, right? Because even like Easy A's, with the fact they go up to stage 999, it's just a procedurally generated, like they get X amount of extra percentage like stats every time, and it can go on essentially forever until you get to a point where it does literally become impossible and you just get killed like by a normal, regardless of who it is, and that's the furthest you can physically get to. I could see it being something like that. The interesting thing is, and I've seen people express concerns already about whether it will be a pay to win or like sort of thing, because we know one of the big things is like the World Tournament, where obviously that is a different thing because it's over a multitude of days. It's like people who have the time and have that craziness in them, I guess, to like go full pelt like non-stop all weekend. This is obviously
people who stream it,
a different format to that. I know, right? Who would do that? This is obviously a very different format. I don't expect this to be the kind of thing where it's like, to get into that top 100,000 to get through the first round, you have to sit and play it for like 12 hours. But obviously at this point we don't know. Villa, any thoughts on how the event will play out based on the nothing that we know so far?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to really dig deep to sort of figure out what I like about it. But it's an interesting premise, I think, at the very least, if you just kind of want to go from a simple perspective. I think it would be kind of nostalgic if it says like after you clear, it's like you're in the top 1%, like Chain Battle, and just kind of seeing how it's gonna work. If it's like, I really don't want it to be a case where it takes 2 to 3 hours. I'm kind of with you on the boat where it's like, I just don't enjoy the Festival of Battles. I understand like the appeal to it, but I just don't really like the what is it? The 47 phases of nothing and then 3 fun phases after 3 hours. But yeah, I think that this has some potential for community interaction and stuff like that. And it's like, you mentioned, I kind of laughed when you said it earlier, where it's like people were showing concerns that it's going to be more whale friendly or pay to play friendly. It's like, guys, it's a gacha game. Like, it's everything that they do in its core is going to be pay to play friendly, and it's like I don't like it, but it's how it works. And right.
I mean, you just got to go in with like the expectations.
Yeah,
like, you know, you're playing a gacha game.
Well, plus the other thing will be to see, because obviously we don't know how it works in terms of like how many attempts do you get, because obviously we're being calculated into this like leaderboard. So if you get infinite attempts, then you can just keep trying to get a better and better score until the cutoff point, whenever that is. Or if you get limited attempts, then obviously there is that you can play the single player version that doesn't have the ranking.
Exactly.
So I guess you can kind of like test it out a bit first and see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, realistically, most of it is still very much unknown. We just know that this new event is coming. We know that it's going to have this sort of competitive thing to it where we're going to have these rankings. Obviously, still no idea even what, you know, things like the rewards and stuff will be. Although I imagine it's not going to be a case of like, you know, something absolutely crazy like hundreds of stones or anything like that, because it is going to be so limited to the people who actually make it into those final brackets. I mean, but be interesting to see.
Think about it like World Tournament too. Like finishing number 1 in the World Tournament, it's not like they just like the winner gets 1,000 Dragon Stones.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you get a funky title and just some extra, like the numbers of the rewards are just increased, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because it's stuff like orbs and kais and like things like that. And it's stuff that
100 stones for the winner.
Yeah,
it's stuff that you want to have, but you don't like need it. None of those people who play all weekend to get into like the top 3, they're not playing it for the like the items that you get, right? It's for the title, just want to win it, for the like the bragging rights kind of thing, right? And obviously for some people they don't care about stuff like that. So it will be interesting to see what the rewards are going to be. I just think it'll be fun as well, especially like for us, like to see which of the people who like creator wise, like who actually gets through to like these higher brackets and stuff. I think it'll be fun to see like how that goes. But obviously we still need a lot of information to come on the event, but hopefully a lot of that will be part of the data download if it is going to be coming out in the next or at least before the end of this month. I guess they have done with big events and stuff before, but I don't think they would announce it this early if we weren't seeing any more on it for like the rest of the month. So I guess we will have to wait and see. So
that's always the name of the game, waiting and seeing.
Exactly. Until we know for sure, until they tell us for sure what's happening, you never truly know when it comes to Dokkan. But like we said, hopefully news tonight, or maybe tomorrow, and then maintenance, which will essentially include data download, and then we'll have a good idea of what's going on for the rest of the week. So the only other thing we have on the list, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit, we brought up the celebration itself, of course, is the Global Dokkan campaign. We talked about the sort of info that we've seen now with the update today, with the event updates, kind of pretty much solidifying that Global Dokkan campaign should start around the 7th of July, which makes sense because that is the anniversary for Global as it is anyway. So yeah, obviously we don't have a huge amount to go on, so this isn't going to be necessarily a super long segment, but what are your guys' thoughts as we are heading into this, getting closer to the countdown for the Global Dokkan campaign in terms of what you guys want to see, what your expectations are? Because obviously this being advertised as an anniversary level event, like it's one of those things I sort of pondered on earlier, I suppose, is like the worldwide celebration, they never said it specifically, so it's like, did they consider the worldwide celebration to be an anniversary level celebration, or even to them was it always considered like, you know, the next rung down on the ladder? Because I think most people, player base wise, considered it like, you know, the second biggest celebration of the year. But now with them specifically saying like this is an anniversary level campaign, I think expectations are quite high. So what do you guys think?
Well, anytime where you set up a celebration that large and you are like, we're essentially just going into it with the idea that we're going to be getting at least 4 new summonable LRs, like it does bring that sort of high level of expectations to it, right? But I think, sorry, go ahead, Miso.
No, sorry, I thought you finished.
Honestly,
that happens a lot.
I was kind of freestyling a little bit. It's tough,
okay,
guys. Like there's I don't know if there's a delay on Discord or anything like that, but it's tough. I know it sounds like we're always tripping over
there
each
is
other,
Discord always does have delays, by the way,
Yeah.
right? So that's why, you know, it sounds like to me, oh, Will stopped, but then he said something, and then it's like, oh, you know,
right.
but
yeah,
I forgot what I was gonna say already. So go on.
okay, so yeah, but when I definitely would agree that it's like probably in terms of like the player base and like the returning players and stuff like that, if like the anniversary is up here, maybe like the other celebration would be like right here, so not really a big deal. Like a lot of new returning players, a lot of generous rewards, a lot of EZAs, a lot of new LRs. But if they are calling an anniversary level campaign, that also comes with a risk, because then you are setting yourselves up for this standard, right? We're seeing that right now in Dragon Ball Legends, where people are not happy because of the way that it was marketed. And if you're going to call this an anniversary level campaign, then that means you got to bring it, right? And but I have no doubt with Dokkan, right? I think the 10th anniversary was a massive success. I think the only thing that could be a little disappointing compared to the anniversary is I doubt they do another Purunga Wish like the one we saw, but that's okay. I think really just getting really one of those in any year is more than enough for what we're used to with Dokkan, considering we didn't have a pity system on banners for a very long time. But you know, I think they're going to do a pretty good job. I really don't have any reason to not have faith in them. If we want to talk about characters, I think almost like everybody is like the first prediction for basically anybody with, I don't want to say with a brain, but it's Daima, right? Like that's kind of what everybody's thinking. Yeah. Maybe Goku, a lot of Goku Frieza talk, not from the Tournament of Power, but just Goku versus Frieza, like specifically with Namek and things like that. But I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited, and I think that the anniversary level celebration, I think they probably will meet that. I mean, I just don't really have any reason to doubt them at this point.
It's a bold claim when you say like this is going to be another anniversary level celebration in the same year where you've just had the 10th anniversary, which was like the best celebration we've had in the game probably ever, to then say, yeah, this is going to be an anniversary level campaign as well.
Yeah, well, do they mean anniversary level or 10th anniversary?
Yeah, exactly.
Level? So it's like, do we mean 8th anniversary? 8th anniversary wasn't that bad. It just the character choices weren't my favorite.
I like the character choices. I think you're a loser.
Yeah. So...
Okay. Whoa, easy.
I was going to say yeah, same, but I don't co-sign. I don't co-sign that last bit.
We got the Boo Duo defender over here.
Whoa, yeah, same thing, and it's crazy.
I was going to say that, but I don't co-sign that last bit. But yeah, so Minato, what do you think?
I mean, honestly, we were talking about it so much, I forgot the original question again.
Honestly, I kind of did too.
Just about your expectations for the campaign, not just who it is, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking. In general. But I was like, we started talking about anniversary, and I'm like, got all jumbled up.
That's the thing, because it's like they are both essentially anniversaries. So I keep accidentally
Well-
calling this celebration the anniversary now when I go to say something. And be like,
Right.
oh yeah, the anniversary's in like
Call
3
it a
weeks.
I mean,
call it
I
GDC.
I said it too. I think this is essentially just the global 10th anniversary.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I do realistically think that you can just call this anniversary as well.
Mhm.
But in terms of the global Dokkan campaign, I think that just 4 banners, 4 LRs. I expect it to be pretty huge. I would not expect like 10th anniversary level just because 11th anniversary is not going to be 10th anniversary level. 12th anniversary is it going to be? I think the 6 new characters was a lot, but it's still going to be the 4 banner format, of course. And I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Mhm.
One thing that the worldwide celebration kind of had over the like actual 10th anniversary or the anniversaries in general were the memorial stones for a lot of people. I think that was always very nice.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a very, very similar structure. So I'm thinking it's going to be around the same level as the 10th anniversary. Maybe
Yeah.
we could see even more EZAs or super EZAs than like usual. But I think expecting this celebration to be as good as the 10th anniversary is asking for a bit much, especially with the Memorial 10th anniversary stone. So I'm gonna say, hey, as long as it's around worldwide of last year, I kind of want it to be better than worldwide last year, honestly, because worldwide last year, like, there are some sub EZs missing and things like that. I think like a 9.5 anniversary celebration would be ideal for me. Not 10th
Yeah.
anniversary, but like
But
better than the 9th.
so what would you call a 9.5 anniversary then? And I'm not like saying you're wrong or anything. I'm just wondering.
I
where you're
mean,
at.
it would be just the same as a 10th anniversary, except not 2 LR, like 4 LRs instead
Yeah.
of 6 LRs.
I
missing
prefer
the
4
mo-
LRs. 6
Well,
is a lot.
They're on the same banner.
Yeah.
It's not like it's 6 banners.
I know, but
It's
the
still 4
problem is,
banners.
it's like,
Right.
especially with the units that we got last time, right? Like, it's like a lot of people, if you were summoning on the Part 1 Carnival LR banner, you were summoning for Goku and not Vegeta, and then you get a, like, Whis animation and get Vegeta
Yeah, let me see if I
It's just
can.
like,
Okay, but yeah.
Something up.
Okay,
I
but
don't know
then
if this is gonna work
that
on my
would
phone, but I'm
be
gonna pull it up.
that'd be like LR God Goku instead of a brand new LR Evolution Vegeta, right?
Hmm.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, okay, well, you're probably just gonna get a worse years old character compared to a brand new LR in that spot. Which is why I would still say, if there are
Yeah, this is gonna
separate
work.
banners, like if it was a whole
Oh,
separate
yeah,
banner
no,
for the
separate
another
banners is
LR,
worse, but I think having the 2 new characters on the banner, if that became the norm for every anniversary and global,
I don't think
Dokkan,
it's going to
then-
be the norm,
No,
but
I
I'm
don't
talking.
think so either, but I think that would be too much if it was.
I'm saying for the Global Dokkan Celebration for a 9.5 anniversary, it's going to have 2 less LRs.
Yeah.
We're not going to have the Memorial 10th anniversary stuff.
Mhm.
And we might not see as many EZAs overall.
Shit, there was a lot, which was great.
There was a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
EZAs. I just don't know if we'll see as many Super EZAs or EZAs because, again, but if we see, like, okay, how many do we get during the celebration? Because we didn't get any for the countdown, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4 Super EZAs, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's
So we
quite a lot.
got 6. Well, we technically got 7 Super EZAs if we count Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta
Damn.
as the EX part. Then, no EX part definitely is another thing. So
True.
for normal EZAs, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 EZAs.
Damn.
Namagoku, Frieza, the year 7s, all 4 year 7s, of course. Then the GT Super Saiyan Duo, right? So, like,
That's a
maybe
lot.
not as many EZAs because of the fact that we're not going to have an EX part. But let's say basically just the 10th anniversary without an EX part. But we'll get without the EX part, the 2 LRs, and then the Memorial Stone.
Mhm.
But like everything else is roughly the same. That's like a
Mhm.
9.5 anniversary
Yeah.
to me. Maybe like 9.7 or something. But you get the point where it's like better than the 9th, but I don't think it's going to be as good as the 10th.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I think
tough to live
that's
up to that.
Yeah, because the 10th anniversary was so good. So it's just like you take out those
Well-
couple of things that were the thing that makes it like the most peak. Like, the Memorial Stone, take out the 2 extra LRs, and then maybe we get a few less LR EZAs, and then that
yeah.
is still like a great celebration, right? So
I think something that kind of goes into the future as well. It's like when you're really comparing it to any celebration, it's like how much are you valuing what is given to the players in the context of the Purunga Wish on the other side, where it's like compared to the 10th anniversary, because I personally don't see them going back to that, at least anytime soon. Like maybe for the 11th, but I kind of doubt it. And it's like, is that always going to be the bar where it's like, oh, we didn't get one of the free LRs for free, so the 10th anniversary was just better?
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee there will be like people on, especially on social media, like people will complain if we don't get a Purunga Stone for this Global Dokkan campaign, and again if we don't get one for the 11th anniversary. But it's just like,
it comes with the territory.
It's the 10th anniversary. It was a big special thing. It's probably the most generous thing the game has ever done. I don't know if any other gachas even do anything that generous for their anniversary, because that's the thing people forget.
Legends
like,
didn't.
The missions to get the Purunga Wish thing were just so like they were free. You just got them for playing the game, and then you got one of the anniversary headliners for free, which for most people, unless you'd already pulled him and wanted to pick somebody else, that means you just got Vegito, like the best unit in the game, for free as part of the anniversary. Like that's insane.
For very minimal work.
Yeah,
right?
very minimal works. The missions were super easy. So yeah, I can't see that being a thing that's going to happen again. Like it's an awesome thing that happened for the 10th anniversary, but I don't think it should then be considered a detriment for like any other future anniversary or anything, right? If they don't do it again, because it's
I agree.
like an unprecedented generosity level, which is honestly
That'll
I couldn't believe it, so much so that when we first saw the tweet that they like first put out, because I think they had to put out a reply that was like a slightly better translation because people were a bit confused. But when they put out the first tweet, like straight away I read it and I was just like, no. Like when I saw people saying, oh, we get a headliner for free, I was like, no, I don't think it is that.
Yeah,
because that's just too it's just too good. And then it was. So
I think I woke up for class like after that had been announced. And I'm just like sitting in this this like writing class, like giddy as a schoolgirl, just thinking about it. It's like I got to do a video talking about this.
Man, I woke up late for that too, and I was like, bro, because I tuned it at like 3 a.m. my time. I'm like, y'all asleep.
The crazy part
I was not
is
expecting
like
an
I got my luck in part 1 was so bad that it was just like
Mm-hmm.
that Purunga Wish is basically what enabled me to end the anniversary with actually having all of the units, because I just wouldn't have got Goku if it wasn't for us.
What was ironic about the whole
at the end?
yeah.
So.
What was ironic about the whole thing? I didn't even pick an anniversary LR on either version because you guys know I have
Super Sensory Gotenks.
Me neither.
I had
That's
Gotenks on JP, and then
Nice.
on Global on Zero to Hero I picked up Jiren just because I wanted him, and
I
already had everybody else.
I got Gotenks.
But yeah, that's to be fair, that's the other thing that was great about it as well, because it was anniversary headliner, or if you did have them all, or you just didn't care about the ones you didn't have, there was a bunch of other units you could pick as well. So yeah, that was
Goresh picked Cataplessa. Goresh picked Catalepsa or whatever.
I think I saw that. Yeah, the bunny.
Yeah, he picked Toonrami. Yeah.
So random. But yeah, so either way, I don't know if you said Minato as well, but I know Vilify mentioned it. I think most people were sort of on the Daima train for Global Dokkan campaign. I mean, they did. We have the whole Beast Gohan scenario, but like, it feels like too long for them to wait to do it for the 11th anniversary. But yeah, I feel like it's Daima.
I'm still thinking Frieza theme.
Yeah, that's the big one that I've seen is like part 1 Namek and then part 2 like Resurrection of F, which like if done right could be really good. But I do think there'll be a lot of people that if that was the case, like people are just like, you know, when are we finally going to get the Daima stuff? But that's the thing. But that's the thing that always happens, right? Is the celebration could be that the Goku Frieza and be really, really good, and then there's always going to be that subsection of the fan base that are going to
we saw that with Beast Gohan.
It's not Daima, right? So
yeah, like how long did we have to do that where it was like the celebration was a superhero of Beast Gohan and just people were upset until it finally happened, right?
Yeah.
And then even then it's like I see people for Legends, I keep bringing up Legends, but it's like they're like wondering, like they're hoping that Beast is going to be part 2 for the 7th anniversary when Legends Fest Ultra was a Beast Gohan. So it's like insatiable, if you will. That's just how it works.
You see, I just think that there's so many easy A's lining up for like a big Frieza celebration, man. And again, it just really fits super well.
Mhm.
And
A final form Frieza from Namek is much needed.
Yes, that is
Not
very
full
mean-
true.
power, final form.
because I mean, let's take a look at Easy A's for like Daima, like in terms of a major celebration like this. I just like don't know who they would necessarily pick. I mean, Super Saiyan 4 into Gogeta,
Yeah.
and then like who else? Well, it's like in 2023, for if we go through and pick 23 and 23 characters, we have in Super Saiyan 4 Goku, we have the GT Duo, right? We have some extra options of like super cool ETA characters. Whereas I feel like with this roster of characters that they would choose from, I'm not sure who they would pick. Whereas
Yeah.
we have Angel Golden Frieza, we have Resurrection F Blues, we have AGO Golden Frieza, we have the cooler movie 4 LRs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters there that like really fit into this theme of like Namek Saga, where I'm just kind of like, or like Namek Saga Resurrection F, Frieza theme. And then for Daima, it's just like, I mean, they could just release the characters and say, yeah, who cares who EZA? Where else EZA some exciting characters?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, Super EZAs could definitely carry for sure. Super Saiyan 4s, Super EZAs, right? That definitely can happen as well.
Mhm.
I'm just like not sure because there's so many, unless it's a thing of like 11th anniversary is the full Frieza saga, but like if we're gonna consider Global Dokkan Anniversary, if they want to have Global Dokkan Anniversary as like the second biggest celebration, I would assume they would want to save the biggest hitters like Diamond Super Saiyan 4, 411 that ain't, but who knows? It could be a thing where Tanabata is just like super huge, like
Yeah.
major as well. And then
Massive,
they
if you will.
just Daima.
Yeah, because
Massive,
we still don't know what
Like, I
that's
mean-
going to be rebranded as, but that's obviously
It'd be really
September.
funny if they do. They could do Namek plus Daima, like
Mhm.
somehow for Global Dokkan Celebrations. Like part 1 Daima, part 2 is like Namek, and then they do Resurrection F for Tanabata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of like
Interesting.
have like, what if they're like, yeah, let's just split the Namek celebration. Like we had this Frieza celebration in mind, but let's just split it. Let's get Daima in now, and then we'll release half of this previous worldwide during this celebration, and then the second half during Tanabata.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Or obviously, I mean, I don't know if they would because I feel like it is being saved for an anniversary level thing. But I guess if like Global Dokkan Campaign was the both parts like Frieza and Goku stuff, and then Tanabata could be Daima, but I feel like Daima is going to be saved for one of the bigger things, but I'm not sure because Tanabata works as well because
Tanabata is pretty big
there's not because there's not as many big ticket characters either for Daima, so having it be Tanabata where it's just like 2 LRs specifically and they just be, because they're always normally the 2 characters that fight, so just have it be Super Saiyan 4 Goku and then Goma. I think that works quite well, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Obviously by the time the next episode rolls around, we should have the part 2 LR in the game and already know what's going on with these new events that we've talked about. And potentially by then, I mean, I guess we'll still be 2 weeks away from the Global Dokkan campaign starting, but we might have seen some hints and stuff maybe about the countdown as well. So all of that stuff will be ready for next time. So all that's left to do at the end here is give these couple of shout outs. We had a super chat from Drace for $2. Omatsu been MIA, busy with something big or ... Because yeah, that's true. The last couple of producer layer or like things that we've seen haven't actually had Omatsu in. Don't know if that does mean anything.
I don't know if it really
whether he
matters.
has any involvement
Yeah.
in any other projects, but yeah, probably just too busy. Or like who knows?
Don't let the
right?
Toshi thing scare you.
Yeah, I saw that because obviously Toshi with the whole Project Multi stuff. So, but yeah, who knows? We had a couple of gifted memberships from Preston Kitty, Raudo, Sokodo. Shout out to you guys. Sokodo also re-upping his membership 3 more months until the 2 years. Let's go. Need that LR Zarbon for the memes. Yeah, Toon needs to finally be right about the Zarbon premium unit coming to the game.
Sure, you know what? Just give me a Zarbon. Why not?
Why not?
Yep.
I guess he will be
Toon
on
called
mission
it.
execution, right? Yeah, and then he can finally
Yeah.
say he called it. There you go. But we do have a super chat from Malk for $5. Says, hot take, yellow coin LR is red ribbon army with joined forces and mission execution leader skill. Because obviously we know the yellow coin LRs now, thanks to PyCon, are double 200% leads.
Right.
So yeah, that could be interesting. I think because Red Ribbon Army, I mean, there's a couple of characters that don't have any representation at all outside of like potentially just being R's. I did actually think a potential banner unit for Tau could have been Ninja Murasaki, and obviously he wasn't. He hasn't had a proper card since back in the day of running him on the AGL team, like one of the few units in the game that could seal. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on like a Red Ribbon Army Part 2 LR card?
There's a time to do it. It's now.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is true, right? If there was ever a celebration that it fits in, it would be this one. So that could certainly be interesting. But yeah, shout out to Malk for that one. We have Dylan Krem re-upping his membership as well. He says, Tau the GOAT. And thanks for the podcast. So yeah, we appreciate you guys all coming out.
Thank you.
That is going to wrap up episode 67. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I say, the next episode we'll have all the part 2 stuff in the game. Hopefully know a bit more about what's going to be coming up for the next big celebration. But yeah, that should land us on Saturday the 21st. So hopefully we will see you guys there. So appreciate all you guys that came out for the live episode, everybody who's listening back afterwards, those of you who listen on Spotify. Shout out to all of you guys for helping to support the podcast. I have been the Masked Ningen, and of course, massive thanks to my co-hosts as always, Minatos Flash and Vilify. So that is it from us. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you all next time. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.